Got a funny one for you today. What is the spiritual message behind your middle finger? I'm not going to do it because I'd be flipping you guys all off. So, of course, for those of us, at least in the United States, one of the most common hand gestures is actually flipping the bird. Middle finger straight up, all the other fingers down, right? And so we know that the meaning behind it is kind of a screw you, right? Or an F you kind of thing. And so it's interesting to me because people will come to me with issues with their middle fingers, where the middle fingers are actually stuck in the upright position, basically in the flipping the bird position. Now, as I get into this, I want to note that our finger gestures are very tied to our culture. So I know, like in Britain, what we would use as a peace sign in the United States, combined with sort of a vigorous motion is what I'll say, is sort of means the same thing as the flipping the bird motion of the one middle finger in the United States. So you always have to factor in what the culture is and what the cultural meaning is, because really at the end of the day, your body is going to speak to you in the ways that you're going to understand, that are culturally accurate for you. So as I talk about the middle finger and you happen to be in Britain or you happen to be somewhere else where perhaps there's other hand gestures for that, which haven't done a deep dive on that, so I don't know what all the cultural ways of telling someone off with the fingers are. However, if you're somewhere else and you're experiencing issues that are similar to what I'm talking about with the middle finger here, then you can actually interpret it in the exact same way. Okay? So I want to tell you I've had multiple people actually with the middle finger stuck in the upright position. And for a lot of people, I think they would think, well, what does that really mean? And it's been interesting because the people that have come to me with that particular issue tend to be extremely sweet people. So I will tell you about one that happened. So I ran a 4-day retreat a few years ago. And in my retreat, I had the most lovely older woman in my retreat, just could not have been sweeter. She was ran a Montessori school. I mean, she was everybody's dream grandma is what I would have called it. And I was going through the, how to translate what your body is telling you in pain and disease. And she'd been kind of sitting there quietly. And then all of a sudden she said, well, I could use some help with this. And she puts up both hands, and both hands, the middle finger is stuck in the upright position, cannot bend. Neither middle finger can bend. So she is literally doing a double flip of the bird to the world. She literally can't. And it was causing her issues aside from being this uncomfortable juxtaposition between looking like everyone's favorite grandma and flipping the bird with both hands. It was also really problematic because she likes to play tennis. So she couldn't play tennis on top of it because she would go to grip the racket and was just she's gripping the racket and flipping the person off that she's playing and maybe everybody else on the court. So a very uncomfortable situation. So I asked a few questions, when did this start? What happened? When did this actually show up for you? And she realized that it happened right after Thanksgiving. And I was like, okay, right after Thanksgiving. And is there any pain there? And she's like, no, but my neck is a little bit stiff and my shoulder's a little bit stiff. So I was like, okay, I know she's definitely burdened by something. So I said to her, all right, what happened around Thanksgiving, maybe even on Thanksgiving, between a male and a female in your life that you wanted to tell them to bleep off, but you didn't? And it would have been a pretty big thing, but you still in your heart would like to say something about it in a pretty dramatic way. And she immediately started laughing and looked at me and said, oh my God, my son and daughter got into this massive fight on Thanksgiving, and it ruined Thanksgiving, and I think they both were wrong, but they're both adults and I'm trying to let them figure it out. But yeah, I probably am really mad about this. And so we proceeded to after we acknowledged that was what was going on, it was literally locking her fingers out, we talked through it. What were her options and how could we get this out of her? And now that she knew the message behind it, what kind of steps would she like to take? And did she want to say something? Would that feel good to her? Or did she want to do something more like, writing a letter that she never sends or something like that, just to get it out of her system? A lot of times stuff will show up because we've locked it in our system and we haven't let it out. We haven't expressed it. And so the body starts to basically express it for us. And then we moved on to some other things. And so about an hour had passed, I think. And all of a sudden she looked up at me and she's like, Tara, I want to show you something. And she put her hands up and she went like this. And she could bend both her middle fingers. Okay. So that shows you just how quickly we can begin the healing process when we listen to what the body is saying, and that quite often our body is incredibly literal with what it's saying, okay? I mean, I can't think of a more literal thing than both fingers being stuck out, and for me, the right side tends to be male, the left side tends to be female, and that I can't think of a more literal way that the body could possibly show us that this had happened. It happened around Thanksgiving. In fact, it happened on Thanksgiving. And here's the message she needed to hear so that she could take some steps forward to change it. This is how cool it is. The work that I do, I get to do every day that I absolutely love, is doing this, translating the message behind people's pain and disease. So if you're interested in this, make sure that you read down below, you subscribe and like so that you never miss one of my translations. And I oftentimes offer free 1-minute translations to people where I actually am able to take any pain and disease you might be dealing with, and within 1 minute, I can tell you the message behind it. So you're going to want to make sure that you jump onto my email list, or certainly make sure that you've subscribed here. And you can also, when you jump onto my email list, you can also get immediate and free access to my Manifest Your Dream Life Academy, which I am so proud of. And you get free live coaching sessions once a week, actually, every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So subscribe, share if you happen to know somebody who's got a middle finger that's causing them some problems. And I will see you next time to talk about mind-body healing for everyone. See you soon.